Okay, get ready, because today we're going deep into the world of cursed objects. You know those spooky relics with chilling reputations we all love to hear about?
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, can an object really hold energy, memories, intentions even?
Right. And we're diving into all that thanks to this awesome listener-submitted tier list, ranking these spooky artifacts from kind of eerie to, totally reality-bending.
It's going to be a wild ride, that's for sure.
We're talking haunted dolls, cursed chairs, paintings that'll make your hair stand on end.
A fascinating exploration of the stories we tell, the fears we harbor, and the objects that become vessels for both.
Exactly. So we're starting at C tier.
Mm-hmm.
Intriguing, but explainable. And first up, the Myrtles Plantation. If those walls could talk.
Oh, absolutely. A historic Louisiana plantation, infamous for its spooky vibes. You can practically feel the history, you know?
Right. And at the heart of all those ghost stories is this mirror, said to hold the reflections of a murdered family. I mean, talk about creepy.
You know, our minds tend to seek explanations, especially in places like that. Heavy atmosphere, chilling tales, an odd reflection, boom, suddenly it's a trapped spirit. Power of suggestion is a powerful thing.
So maybe the mirror itself isn't haunted, but the story sure makes you feel like it could be, right?
And speaking of captivating stories, let's talk Robert the Doll. Pictures just don't do justice to how creepy this thing looks.
Yes, Robert. His story, passed down and, let's be honest, probably embellished over time. It's classic.
Totally. It's like that primal fear of, childhood toys coming to life.
Exactly. The tale of Robert Eugene Otto and his mischievous doll caps right into that fear. Makes you wonder if those eyes really do follow you. He's in a museum in Key West now, and frankly, I'm good with admiring him from afar. No desire to test that curse, thank you very much. But okay, moving on from haunted dolls. Let's talk about a piece of furniture with a seriously morbid history, the Busby stoop chair.
Ooh, yeah. Objects becoming imbued with the weight of events, real or imagined.
Right. Legend says this murderer, Thomas Busby, cursed it moments before his execution, declared anyone who sat in it would meet an untimely end.
And human nature, we love to find patterns. String of deaths all linked to a single object. That's a story that's going to stick.
Totally. Correlation doesn't equal causation, but still. I wouldn't want to tempt fate.
I wouldn't either. Imagine knowing that history, sitting down anyway. You're already primed for disaster.
Exactly. Your heart starts racing, you get clumsy, and suddenly you're convinced the curse is real. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how our beliefs can shape our reality.
Totally. But what happens when those stories become harder to dismiss, backed by, actual documented events?
That brings us to B tier, where tragedy meets mystery. Objects with a more chilling reputation, where suggestion and something more, unsettling, start to blur.
And we're kicking off the B tier with who else? Annabelle the doll.
Of course. Hollywood's had a field day with her, turned her into a pop culture icon.
Right. But there's a real Raggedy Ann doll at the heart of this unsettling tale.
Oh, absolutely. And her story's intrinsically linked to those paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Right. They claimed she was possessed. And love them or hate them, you can't deny their investigations definitely amplified the fear factor surrounding Annabelle.
For sure. And that's what makes it so tricky. Where does the story end and the, shall we say, embellishment begin?
Right. Is it a genuine haunting? Power of suggestion? I mean, people claimed accidents, illnesses, all because of this doll.
It's like that saying, we see what we want to see, or in this case, what we fear.
Exactly. The line between fact and, a good ghost story, it gets blurry. But one thing's for sure, the power of suggestion is a real thing. And it makes you wonder, are these objects actually cursed? Or is it our belief that shapes the reality of our interactions with them?
Now, those are the questions, aren't they? And questions we'll keep grappling with as we move into the higher tiers, where the stories get even more intense and that line between the explainable and the unexplainable, it gets even blurrier.
And now we're getting into some seriously strange territory, folks. A tier. Documented strangeness. These are the objects where, maybe there's no easy explanation.
Where the stories get even creepier and the evidence, it's a bit harder to dismiss.
Exactly. And we got to start with the infamous haunted eBay painting, The Hands Resist Him. Oh man, this one still creeps me out.
It's a modern classic, isn't it? That creepy artwork, the young boy, the doll, all those unsettling stories online.
People reported feeling uneasy around it, electronics going haywire. Some even said the figures moved in the painting.
The human mind is a powerful thing. art, especially unsettling art, it can really tap into our subconscious anxieties.
For sure, like we all project our fears onto things, right?
Hmm.
But the reported electronic malfunctions, that's where it gets weird. Makes you wonder if there's something else going on.
It's that element of the unknown that makes these stories so compelling.
Totally agree. And it shows how the digital age, the internet, it's like a breeding ground for these stories. They spread like wildfire. But all right, enough about digital nightmares. Let's talk about something a little closer to home. The tall man bunk beds.
Yeah, that one's just unsettling.
Right. A seemingly ordinary piece of furniture, but for one family, it became the source of absolute terror. I mean, imagine being so freaked out by a piece of furniture that you're forced to move out.
And not just move out, they actually destroyed the bunk beds. That says something about the level of fear they were experiencing.
No kidding. It makes you think, what happens when the objects we associate with comfort, with security, become the source of our deepest fears? That's some freaky stuff.
It really blurs the line, doesn't it, between the mundane and the potentially dangerous.
For sure.
Hmm.
Speaking of blurred lines, let's step into S tier, highly documented and famous paranormal objects. And we're starting with the fear we can all relate to, that unsettling feeling of seeing something in the mirror that shouldn't be there. But this isn't just any reflective surface. Oh no, this is the haunted mirror of Drury Lane Theater.
Ooh, Drury Lane. Talk about a place steeped in history and stories. That theater has seen it all, and some say it remembers.
Right. Centuries of performances, all those heightened emotions, the dramatic narratives. It's like the energy of it all just seeped into the walls, the mirrors.
Residual energy, that's what they call it, right? Like certain places can hold on to the energy of past events.
Exactly. It's a chilling thought, but also kind of cool. Like, what stories could those mirrors tell if they could talk? Okay, but moving on from creepy reflections, let's talk about a haunted doll so infamous, even looking at pictures of her is said to have consequences. Peggy the doll.
Oh, Peggy. Now there's an object that really highlights the power of belief.
Right, the idea of an image transmitting harmful energy. It sounds crazy, but people report headaches, nausea, even heart palpitations just from looking at pictures of her.
Psychosomatic reactions, they're a real thing. If you believe something can harm you, your body might just respond accordingly.
It's like our minds are messing with us, making us experience those symptoms just because we're expecting to. But okay, as we delve into these final tiers, we're going to encounter objects that challenge our understanding of reality itself. Get ready, because things are about to get really strange. Okay, folks, hold on tight, because we're heading into uncharted territory, the realm of objects so strange they defy categorization.
This is where it gets really interesting. We're moving beyond a simple ranking system and into the realm of, well, what does it even mean for an object to be haunted? What are the limits of our understanding of reality?
Big questions, right? And we're starting with S tier, objects that defy logic and physics, with an object most people associate with good luck, and maybe a fear of heights, the Blarney Stone.
Right, everyone knows about kissing the Blarney Stone for the gift of gab, but there's a whole other side to its story.
Yeah, like disrespect it, and you might face some serious consequences, according to legend.
Centuries of folklore, whispers of ancient rituals, curses. It makes you wonder, what if those whispers are more than just stories?
Right. It's a good reminder that every object has a story, and sometimes those stories have teeth. Okay, from the Blarney Stone, we move on to an object with a much darker reputation, the Black Aggie. This statue, once stood in a Maryland cemetery, became infamous for the stories surrounding it.
And again, it's about context, isn't it? Place an object in a graveyard, a place already imbued with death and mourning, it's going to take on a different meaning.
Totally. The Black Aggie became a symbol of all those fears we associate with death, with the unknown.
And people claimed all sorts of terrible things happened to those who dared to disturb it, accidents, madness, even death.
It's like our fears took physical form. Okay, from the eerie presence of the Black Aggie, we move on to an object that just screams, cursed artifact, the Bassano vase.
Ah, yes. The vase with a body count. Each owner meeting an untimely and often very strange end.
Makes you want to think twice about buying antiques, right? But seriously, it makes you wonder, does the object itself hold some kind of malevolent energy? Or is it just, coincidence?
Maybe some objects are just magnets for misfortune. Or maybe there's something more at play. The Bassano vase certainly makes you wonder.
No doubt. But okay, now we're going even deeper into the realm of objects that break the mold entirely. These aren't just cursed, they're reality bending. Welcome, listeners, to the broken tier. Objects that break reality itself.
These are the objects that make us question everything we thought we knew. The ones that make us say, what in the world is going on here?
Exactly. And first up in this mind-blowing tier, we have The Crying Skull of Bettiscombe Manor. Now, this skull isn't content with just existing. It cries.
It's a chilling reminder that objects can hold on to the energy of the past, especially the painful parts of history.
Absolutely. And in this case, it's the tragic story of an enslaved person brought to England. The skull is said to cry out in mourning, and anyone who disrespects it, bad things happen.
It's like a haunting tied to a deep, unresolved trauma echoing through time.
Okay, moving on from a crying skull, we come to another infamous statue, shrouded in mystery, the Woman from Lem statue.
Yes, also known as the Goddess of Death. The stories surrounding this statue are chilling.
To say the least. A string of owners, all dying under mysterious circumstances. It's like it's cursed with misfortune.
It makes you wonder, does the statue itself have power? Or is it just a focal point for tragedy? A self-fulfilling prophecy, perhaps?
And the kicker. It's currently in a museum. Someone's got to dust that thing.
Right. It's a reminder that even with these infamous reputations, there's still a curiosity about these objects. A pull that draws us in even as we're terrified.
Absolutely. But okay, we've reached the final tier, folks. Brace yourselves. This is the beyond broken tier. Relics that transcend time and space. These aren't just objects, they're like gateways to the unthinkable.
These are the objects that suggest there are forces at play in the universe that we may never fully understand.
Exactly. And we're diving headfirst into this final tier with an object so legendary, so shrouded in myth and mystery, that it needs no introduction. The Ark of the Covenant.
Just saying the name evokes a sense of awe, doesn't it? The biblical artifact, the Ten Commandments, the stories of its power.
Parting waters, smiting armies. It's like a direct link to the divine.
And a reminder that some objects hold a power that goes way beyond their physical form. They become symbols of faith, of belief, of the unknown.
For sure. Okay, from the divine power of the Ark, we move on to an object steeped in dark folklore and forbidden magic. The Hand of Glory.
Okay, now we're getting into some creepy stuff. A severed hand, imbued with dark magic. It's the stuff of nightmares.
Right, but also kind of fascinating. The Hand of Glory is said to have all these powers, paralyzing victims, unlocking doors, even commanding shadows.
It's a reminder that the pursuit of power, especially through dark or forbidden means, can have terrifying consequences.
No doubt. And finally, we've reached the last object on our list. And folks, this one might be the most existentially terrifying of them all. I'm talking about the Angremenyu idol. This isn't just an object, it's like the embodiment of chaos itself.
If the other objects on this list hinted at the existence of forces beyond our understanding, the Angremenyu idol confirms it.
It's a chilling reminder that not all forces in the universe are benevolent. That sometimes chaos and destruction are just as powerful as creation and order.
It's a lot to think about, isn't it? All these objects, these stories, they remind us that the world is a strange and mysterious place, that there are things out there we may never fully understand.
Well said. And as we conclude our deep dive into the world of haunted objects, we encourage you, our listeners, to keep asking questions, to remain curious, but maybe, just maybe, to do so with a healthy dose of caution. After all, as we've learned today, some mysteries are better left unexplored, some doors better left unopened. Until next time, sweet dreams.